Nice to meet you.
Welcome. Mr. President, you are in official visit to Bosnia and Herzegovina and you already had some meetings with the Bosnian official. You said earlier today that it's very important for Bosnia and Herzegovina to be a part of European Union. How do you see Bosnian progress in that path?
Let me start by saying that Czech Republic is a long-term supporter of membership of all Western Balkan countries in the EU and eventually also in NATO, because we see on our own example benefit of being part of these structures. It has contributed significantly to our security and prosperity, as well as stability and position within Europe and the world. We would like to see the same for Bosnia and Herzegovina. And not only because of a reason that we consider Bosnia and Herzegovina as a friendly country, but also that we see it beneficial for both the region and the EU. The situation so far is on the right track. I welcome that all the parties that I met were in agreement on the European path. There are obviously some homeworks to be done, and I deliberately say homeworks because no one from abroad can help Bosnian authorities to adopt the laws, to make nominations that are precondition of opening talks on accession. But I have a tendency to believe that all Bosnians will see the benefit of being within the EU and will also push on your politicians, on your parties to get to an agreement. It is obviously necessary to have always on top of your considerations this common goal to make life for all Bosnian citizens better through integration into European structures, and with that in mind to overcome internal differences that still exist. I believe it is possible, and we will do our best to assist Bosnia in this endeavor.
Some politicians in Bosnia and Herzegovina, especially Milorad Dodik, president of entity Republika Srpska, had friendly relations with Russian President Putin. Do you think that is an obstacle for Bosnian European future?
Well, not necessarily, because even for people in Republika Srpska, membership in the EU will deliver concrete benefits for their lives. So I think personal relationships of the leaders will not present a critical obstacle. What is important that all the sides agree on all those tasks that are ahead and don't block the progress. Otherwise, they would have to explain to their own population why they are preventing their life to become better.
In that context, how important is it for Bosnia and Herzegovina to become a part of NATO?
I would again come back to the example of my own country. We were in a similar situation like Bosnia today 30 years ago when the Warsaw Pact disappeared and suddenly we were in a kind of security vacuum. And my predecessors were obviously rightfully considering the options for at that time still Czechoslovakia, if we are to stay on our own with all the risks, or if we try to become members of Euro-Atlantic community to which we believed belonged by tradition, by the values. And we obviously realized that staying alone is not an option, especially in the environment in which we live that is in security terms quite volatile, and economic terms it's almost unsustainable for a country even of our size to compete with bigger countries or groups of countries. So all our effort was aimed to become members of NATO, to get security guarantees, and then also to become members of the EU, to become a safe and prosperous country. This sequence allowed us to present to the countries of the EU that we are a safe country for the investments. So membership in NATO had a number of benefits beyond security. And I believe it is the same for the countries in this region. You also seek for stability, for predictable environment, for functional institutions, for rule of law, accountability. I mean, these are all things that may be guaranteed by NATO and the EU, without obviously pretending that these two institutions are perfect. They are not. But being a member of institutions of democratic countries gives every member right and opportunity to change it.
How do you comment the relationship between Serbia and entity Republika Srpska? Officials of Republika Srpska threaten to separate for years, celebrating unconstitutional holidays, deny genocide, and there is no condemnation of such threats from our neighbor Serbia. On the contrary.
From what I heard, that President Vučić was just the opposite view, not encouraging Milorad Dodik in his separatist efforts. I believe that Aleksandar Vučić understands pretty well that any attempt to separate Republika Srpska would result in a great instability in the region, and that the powers that are guarantors of the Dayton Agreement would strongly disagree. I think it is not even in the interest of people of Republika Srpska to separate, because on its own, Republika Srpska would be economically unsustainable entity. So I think it's always fair if someone says A to tell B or C, to explain all the problem in context. I understand that from time to time some politicians may play on a nationalistic tone, but it was never helpful. I believe that the cards are on the table. We have Bosnia-Herzegovina with all ethnic groups living in this country. And I mean, if they stay together, it can only be to their own benefit, because being diverse, having different cultures, different religions is actually an asset, not the problem of a country. It doesn't dilute any identity, because all of the ethnic groups will always be Serbs, Bosniaks or Croats, but they will be also members of Bosnia-Herzegovina, and eventually, and I strongly support that, they will also be Europeans.
The new US President Donald Trump took office. What is your reaction on his first moves in relation to Ukraine, and are there any hopes or concerns when it comes to this?
I think with the arrival or return of Donald Trump to the position of American president, many people, many countries have great expectations. We can obviously say that it represents an opportunity. We will have to wait for a concrete policies vis-à-vis Russia and Ukraine. We have only heard so far a couple of proposals that were not officially articulated. But President Trump expressed clearly the will to strongly contribute to, if not to resolve, the war. We can only welcome that, because I think everyone is now exhausted by the war, especially the warring countries. Both Russia and Ukraine have spent tremendous resources, suffered a lot of losses, and it's time to stop this war that brings so much suffering. And obviously we have to say that it is within this resolution always important to distinguish who was the aggressor and who was the victim. I believe that Donald Trump, in his push for having a deal, peace deal on Ukraine, will respect the right of Ukraine for just peace, that wouldn't harm a victim and reward the aggressor, and that he would also take on board European countries, so that we can present our view on European security, which will be at stake once we start debating with Russia.
What do you expect from America's foreign politics in the next period?
It will be definitely focused on America first, as we heard. So protection of American interests in economy, in security will be always on top. It is not necessarily bad news for us, because the United States are the most powerful democratic country. Their set of values is similar, or if not the same, to us. There's a long-term strategic interest match with ours. So I think if we find a way how to go together, if we find a way how to avoid unnecessary tariff wars between the EU and the United States, but will rather focus on cooperation, on sharing, on opening our research and development instead of closing it, so that we are more competitive vis-à-vis China, which is our systemic rival, I think we will be on the right track.
How do you see China's role in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine? How active has China been so far?
Let me be very open. China stands on the side of Russia. China allows Russia to continue the war because they are delivering dual-use technologies that are prohibited by the sanction regime from the West. China uses the approach that will weaken both Russia and the West to benefit from it as the strongest power. I think vis-à-vis the superpower, it's very irresponsible. That's why we try, and I did it myself during the session of Security Council in New York. I called on China to take greater responsibility for conflict resolution. It's definitely not possible for a country of a size and influence as China to only use all the benefits of superpower and not to take responsibility. So China may play a crucial role in convincing Russia to stop the war, and China could also play a positive role in settling down the tensions after the conflict. But so far we don't see these efforts. China stands on the side of Russia, and as such it's in fact its ally.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.